The Grand Hall of the Galactic Summit buzzed with energy. Delegates from dozens of advanced civilizations gathered aboard the opulent orbital station, their shimmering robes and metallic exoskeletons reflecting the soft glow of holographic displays. The summit was an annual event, a chance for leaders to discuss trade agreements, resource sharing, and the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. But today, something unusual disrupted the routine. High Counselor Threxon, a towering reptilian figure with emerald scales, stood at the podium addressing the assembly. His deep, rumbling voice echoed through the chamber as he debated over expanding mining operations in the Outer Rim. Suddenly, the room fell silent. A sharp alarm blared, cutting through the air like a blade. Every head turned toward the massive viewport that overlooked the vast expanse of space. Out there, emerging from the void, was a ship unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Sleek and angular, it gleamed under the light of a nearby star. Its surface was painted in shades of silver and black, adorned with strange symbols etched into its hull. It moved with precision, gliding effortlessly despite its enormous size. The vessel radiated both beauty and menace, a paradox that left even seasoned diplomats uneasy. "What is this?" Ambassador Kalthar, a wise elder of the Zinari race, whispered. His translucent blue skin shimmered faintly as he leaned forward, his 6 eyes narrowing in concentration. Around him, murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some delegates exchanged worried glances, others frantically tapped on their wrist consoles, trying to gather more information. Initial scans revealed startling details. The ship was not of any known design. Its propulsion system defied conventional physics, and its weaponry, though currently inactive, was clearly capable of immense destruction. Most shocking of all, preliminary analysis suggested the craft was human-made. Humanity, those primitive beings tucked away on a tiny planet called Earth, wasn't supposed to achieve interstellar travel for centuries. Yet here they were, boldly entering neutral space without warning. Fear spread like wildfire among the delegates. "They've come to conquer," growled Counselor Varnuk, a hulking insectoid leader whose mandibles clicked angrily. "We should destroy them before they attack." "No," shouted Ambassador Kalthar, slamming his fist on the table. "We know nothing about their intentions. Acting out of fear will only lead to disaster." While the leaders argued, the mysterious ship sent a transmission. A calm, measured voice filled the chamber. "This is Captain Alina Voss of the human warship Aegis. We mean no harm. Our mission is one of peace, to establish contact and foster understanding between our species and yours." Silence followed her words. Captain Voss's tone was firm yet respectful, but skepticism lingered in the air. Was this truly a gesture of goodwill, or was it a clever ruse to mask hostile ambitions? Captain Voss continued, "Humanity has long observed your civilizations from afar. Now we are ready to step onto the galactic stage. We seek dialogue, not conflict." Her message did little to quell the unease. Many delegates whispered furiously, questioning how humanity could have advanced so rapidly. Others wondered if the humans had stolen technology or received help from rogue factions within the galaxy. Suspicion hung heavy in the room. Meanwhile, outside the station, the Aegis loomed large against the backdrop of stars. Its presence was undeniable, a bold declaration that humanity was no longer content to remain in the shadows. Whether this new arrival would bring cooperation or catastrophe remained to be seen. For now, the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what move humanity would make next. And so began the first chapter of humanity's journey into the cosmos, a chapter filled with hope, uncertainty, and the promise of change. While the galactic leaders debated humanity's sudden appearance, aboard the Aegis, Captain Alina Voss stood silently in the command center, her sharp eyes scanning the holographic displays that floated before her. She had spent years preparing for this moment, decades of secrecy, sacrifice, and innovation culminating in humanity's first step onto the interstellar stage. But it wasn't just her story. It was the story of an entire species rising from obscurity to challenge the stars. Earth hadn't always been a beacon of progress. Centuries earlier, humanity was fragmented, divided by wars, greed, and ignorance. The planet teetered on the brink of collapse, its resources depleted and its people consumed by fear. Then came the signal, a faint but unmistakable transmission intercepted by Earth's astronomers. It was alien, complex, and unlike anything humans had ever encountered. At first, panic swept across the globe. Was it a message, a warning, or something else entirely? But instead of crumbling under fear, humanity chose to listen. Scientists worked tirelessly to decode the transmission, piecing together fragments of knowledge that revealed glimpses of advanced technology. Warp drives, energy shields, quantum communication, all concepts far beyond human understanding at the time. What began as curiosity soon turned into determination. Governments set aside their differences, pooling resources to study the signal and unlock its secrets. Decades passed, and humanity clawed its way forward. Reverse engineering the alien designs proved difficult, but not impossible. Brilliant minds like Dr. Nair dedicated their lives to bridging the gap between theory and practice. Breakthroughs came slowly at first, then faster as each discovery built upon the last. Earth's location on the outer rim of the galaxy became both a curse and a blessing. It shielded humanity from prying eyes, but also isolated them from potential allies. The construction of the Aegis marked a turning point. Designed not only as a warship but as a symbol of resilience, the vessel combined cutting-edge technology with human ingenuity. Its sleek frame housed weapons capable of defending Earth against any threat, yet its core mission was one of peace. Captain Voss, handpicked for her tactical brilliance and diplomatic skill, led a crew chosen from every corner of the globe. Together, they represented the best of what humanity could achieve when united. As the Aegis approached the summit station, memories of Earth's journey flashed through Voss's mind. She thought of the countless sleepless nights spent poring over blueprints, the sacrifices made by those who believed in a better future, and the hope that drove them all forward. Humanity wasn't perfect. They still carried scars from their past, but they had learned. They had grown. Back on the station, the delegates continued to speculate about the origins of the Aegis. Some accused humanity of theft, claiming no primitive species could develop such advanced technology independently. Others whispered about hidden benefactors, suggesting humanity might be puppets controlled by some unseen force. Few considered the truth, that humanity had risen on its own, driven by necessity and sheer willpower. Captain Voss knew these doubts wouldn't vanish overnight. Trust had to be earned, and she was ready to prove humanity's worth. As the Aegis hovered near the station, its engines humming softly, Voss addressed her crew. "This isn't just our debut," she said, her voice steady. "It's a chance to show the galaxy who we are. Not conquerors, but explorers. Not enemies, but partners." Her words resonated with the crew. Lieutenant Marcus Kane nodded firmly, his hands gripping the edge of his console. Dr. Nair adjusted her glasses, her expression resolute. Each member of the team understood the weight of their mission. Humanity's future depended on how they handled this encounter. Outside the ship, the vastness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with stars and swirling nebulae. For the first time, humanity stood face to face with the wider universe. Whether the galaxy would welcome them or reject them remained uncertain. But one thing was clear: humanity was here to stay, and they were ready to carve out their place among the stars. The grand hall of the Galactic summit buzzed with tension as Captain Elena Voss's voice echoed through the chamber. Her message of peace had been clear, but skepticism lingered in the air like a storm cloud refusing to disperse. The delegates, representing dozens of advanced civilizations, exchanged wary glances. Some leaned forward, their expressions intent. Others sat rigidly, arms crossed, distrust etched into their features. High Counselor Threxon, his emerald scales shimmering under the artificial light, rose from his seat. His deep, gravelly voice cut through the murmurs. "This human ship appears without warning, armed to the teeth, and expects us to believe it comes in peace. Preposterous. He pointed a clawed finger toward the viewport where the Aegis loomed ominously. They are primitives, untested, and unpredictable. Who knows what chaos they might unleash? Ambassador Kalthar, the wise elder of the Zinari race, sighed audibly. His translucent blue form seemed almost luminescent as he addressed the room. Counselor Threxon, we must not let fear dictate our actions. Humanity has taken a bold step by coming here. Should we dismiss them outright, or should we seek to understand their intentions? His words did little to calm the growing unrest. Counselor Varnuk, a hulking insectoid leader whose chitinous armor gleamed menacingly, clicked his mandibles sharply. Understand them. Their very presence is an affront. They have no place among us. If we do not act now, they will grow stronger and bolder. Captain Voss listened intently to the debate, her sharp gaze flickering between the delegates. She stood tall on the station's observation deck, flanked by Lieutenant Marcus Kane and Dr. Prionaire. Though she remained composed, her mind raced. Every accusation, every insult directed at humanity stung. But she knew losing her temper would only confirm their worst fears. Finally, she stepped forward, her voice steady and commanding. Honorable leaders, she began, addressing the room. I understand your concerns. To you, we may seem like strangers, an unknown force entering your domain. But I assure you, humanity seeks neither conquest nor conflict. We come as equals, eager to learn and contribute. Her words were met with mixed reactions. Some delegates nodded thoughtfully, intrigued by her calm demeanor. Others scoffed openly. A slender, bird-like representative named Syra tilted her feathered head curiously. Captain Voss, she chirped, her voice melodic yet sharp. Your technology bears resemblance to designs used by many of our races. How did your species acquire such knowledge? Voss hesitated for a fraction of a second before answering. Decades ago, my people intercepted transmissions containing fragments of advanced science. Through study and innovation, we adapted these ideas to suit our needs. This achievement belongs to humanity alone. The room erupted into whispers. Some saw this explanation as plausible. Others accused humanity of theft. Ambassador Kalthar raised a hand, silencing the chatter. Whether their methods are commendable or questionable, we cannot deny that humanity has reached our level of advancement. Perhaps this is an opportunity to guide them, rather than reject them. Threxon snorted derisively. Guide them. They are children playing with fire. Allowing them into our fold risks destabilizing everything we've built. As the arguments raged on, Captain Voss glanced at her crew. Marcus gave her a reassuring nod, while Priya adjusted her glasses nervously. Despite the hostility surrounding them, Voss felt a spark of hope. These beings, so different from humans, were debating, questioning, and challenging one another. It was a sign of life, of progress. Humanity wasn't so different after all. But time was running out. The longer the summit stalled, the more fragile the situation became. Voss knew she had to act decisively if she wanted to win their trust. For now, though, she remained patient, letting the galaxy's leaders vent their fears and frustrations. Humanity's journey was just beginning, and every step mattered. Outside the station, the Aegis hovered silently, its sleek frame reflecting the light of distant stars. Inside, Captain Voss prepared for the next move, a move that could either bridge the gap between worlds or widen it forever. The debate within the Galactic Summit Hall continued to simmer, tension thickening the air like an invisible fog. Captain Elena Voss stood at the center of it all, her presence both commanding and calm. She had delivered her message of peace, but skepticism still clung to the room like stubborn shadows. To ease the mounting distrust, Ambassador Kalthar proposed a bold solution. Captain Voss, he said, his voice carrying the weight of authority yet laced with kindness, if you truly seek peace, then prove your intentions. Dock your ship at our station and allow us to verify that your mission is genuine. Let this act of transparency be the first step toward trust. The suggestion hung in the air, met with murmurs of approval and disapproval alike. High Counselor Threxon's eyes narrowed as he leaned forward, his reptilian tail twitching irritably. A test of trust, he growled. Or a trap. What assurance do we have that their ship will not turn its weapons on us once inside? Voss didn't flinch. Instead, she met Threxon's glare with unwavering resolve. You have my word, she replied firmly. The Aegis carries no malice, only hope. We are willing to comply with your request, under one condition. Our crew must remain aboard to ensure the safety of our vessel. Her response surprised many. Some delegates whispered among themselves, impressed by her willingness to compromise while maintaining boundaries. Others remained wary, unconvinced that humanity could be trusted. After a brief but heated discussion, the summit agreed to accept Voss's terms. The Aegis would dock, and a small contingent of inspectors, led by Ambassador Calthar himself, would board to assess the situation. As the massive warship maneuvered into position, guided by precise calculations from Lieutenant Marcus Kane, the mood aboard the station shifted. For the first time since the encounter began, curiosity outweighed fear. Delegates gathered near the observation windows, watching as the sleek human craft aligned perfectly with the docking bay. Its movements were smooth, almost graceful, a testament to humanity's ingenuity. When the airlock hissed open and Captain Voss stepped onto the station alongside her crew, the atmosphere grew electric. Her team included Dr. Priya Nair, whose wide-eyed fascination made her look more like an eager student than a xenobiologist, and Kane, whose confident stride exuded quiet strength. Together, they formed a striking contrast to the alien delegates, humans, fragile and unenhanced, compared to the towering, armored, or bioluminescent beings around them. Ambassador Calthar greeted Voss warmly, extending a shimmering blue hand. Welcome, Captain. I hope this visit will mark the beginning of mutual understanding between our peoples. Voss shook his hand firmly. Thank you, Ambassador. That is my hope as well. The inspection process began shortly after. Teams of engineers and scientists from various species boarded the Aegis, marveling at its design. The ship's interior was a blend of functionality and elegance, with corridors lined in polished metal and glowing panels displaying Earth's languages alongside universal symbols. Dr. Nair eagerly accompanied the inspectors, explaining systems and answering questions about human technology. Despite the progress, not everyone was convinced. Threxon lingered suspiciously, scrutinizing every detail. When he noticed similarities between certain components of the Aegis and designs used by other races, he confronted Voss directly. Your ship bears resemblance to our work, he accused. Did you steal these ideas? Voss held his gaze without hesitation. We studied transmissions from your civilizations, she admitted, but everything aboard this ship was built by human hands. Reverse engineering is not theft, it's learning. Isn't that how progress works? Threxon bristled, but before he could retort, Calthar intervened. Enough, he said firmly. Let us focus on what matters. Ensuring peace, not assigning blame. By the end of the day, initial reports confirmed that the Aegis posed no immediate threat. While some delegates grudgingly acknowledged humanity's peaceful intent, others remained unconvinced. Yet, for the first time, cracks appeared in the wall of suspicion surrounding humanity. As Voss returned to her ship, she felt a flicker of optimism. Trust wasn't earned overnight, but today, humanity had taken another step closer to proving itself worthy of a place among the stars. As the inspection teams returned from the Aegis, their initial reports painted a picture of humanity's ingenuity and restraint. The warship, though formidable, carried no hidden weapons caches or signs of hostile intent. Its systems were advanced but clearly designed for exploration and defense rather than conquest. Despite this, whispers of doubt still lingered among the delegates. Humanity's sudden rise to interstellar prominence felt too convenient, too improbable. Dr. Priya Nair, however, wasn't focused on the politics unfolding in the summit hall. Her curiosity as a xenobiologist had led her to explore parts of the orbital station, reserved for classified archives. While accompanying the inspectors earlier, she'd overheard fragments of conversation about restricted files, data that supposedly detailed unethical practices carried out by some of the galaxy's most powerful factions. Intrigued, she decided to investigate further. Late at night, when the station's bustling corridors grew quiet, Priya slipped into one of the secure chambers using clearance codes borrowed from an unsuspecting delegate. The room was dimly lit, its walls lined with holographic displays showing countless documents and images. As she scrolled through the files, her heart sank. What she discovered was worse than anything she could have imagined. The files revealed evidence of exploitation on a massive scale. Less advanced civilizations, often located on resource-rich planets, had been systematically stripped of their wealth and labor by more powerful species. Entire populations were forced into servitude, their homelands ravaged by mining operations and industrial expansion. One file even mentioned the Koran, a peaceful aquatic race whose world had been drained of vital minerals, leaving them struggling to survive. Priya's hands trembled as she downloaded copies of the incriminating data onto a portable drive. She knew exposing these secrets could ignite chaos within the summit, but it might also explain why humanity's arrival had caused such panic. Perhaps the true fear wasn't humanity itself, but what their presence might uncover. Back aboard the Aegis, Priya shared her findings with Captain Voss and Lieutenant Marcus Kane. The three gathered in the ship's briefing room, the soft glow of the holographic table casting shadows across their faces. "This changes everything," Voss said quietly, her voice tinged with both anger and resolve. "These leaders aren't just afraid of us. They're terrified we'll expose their crimes." Marcus leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "If we reveal this now, it'll blow up the summit. Some of those delegates won't hesitate to retaliate against us, or worse, frame us for leaking the information. But we can't stay silent," Priya insisted. "Humanity has a chance to stand for something greater here. If we don't speak up, who will?" Voss nodded slowly, weighing their options. "We need proof and allies. Ambassador Kelthar seems trustworthy. He's already shown he values fairness. Maybe he'll help us bring this to light." The next day, during a private meeting with Kelthar, Voss presented the evidence. The Zenari elder listened intently, his 6 eyes widening in shock as he absorbed the details. "This is unacceptable," he murmured, his voice heavy with sorrow. "I suspected corruption, but not on this scale." Kelthar promised to support humanity, vowing to use his influence to address the issue diplomatically. However, he warned that exposing the truth would come at a cost. Powerful figures like High Counselor Threxen would fight tooth and claw to protect their interests. That evening, Voss addressed her crew. "We've uncovered something big," she said, her tone firm yet compassionate. "And while it puts us in danger, it also gives us an opportunity to show the galaxy that humanity stands for justice, even when it's hard." Her words resonated deeply. For the first time since arriving, the crew felt united not just by pride in their mission, but by purpose. They weren't just explorers or diplomats. They were potential catalysts for change. Outside the Aegis, the stars twinkled innocently, unaware of the storm brewing inside the summit station. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage with hope, but now they faced a choice: remain silent bystanders, or become voices for the oppressed. Whatever path they chose, it would shape the future of the galaxy and humanity's place within it. The summit station buzzed with nervous energy as delegates prepared for the next session. Humanity's presence had already shaken the delicate balance of power, and now whispers about the classified files Dr. Priya Nair had uncovered began to ripple through the corridors. While Ambassador Kelthar worked behind the scenes to rally support for exposing the corruption, Captain Elena Voss remained cautious. She knew that revealing such explosive information would provoke backlash, and possibly violence. As dawn broke over the station's artificial horizon, chaos erupted without warning. A deafening explosion rocked the facility, sending shockwaves through its metallic corridors. Alarms blared as emergency lights flickered on, bathing the halls in a harsh red glow. Smoke filled the air, and panicked delegates scrambled to evacuate. Amid the confusion, one name was shouted louder than any other: humanity. "This is their doing," roared High Counselor Threxon, his emerald scales shimmering with rage as he emerged from the wreckage of the damaged wing. "They've sabotaged our station to weaken us." Captain Voss stood frozen for a moment, her mind racing. Her first instinct was disbelief. Her crew had nothing to gain from destroying the station. But suspicion spread like wildfire among the frightened delegates. Some pointed accusing fingers at the Aegis, claiming its advanced weaponry could easily have caused the blast. Others demanded immediate retaliation against humanity. Ambassador Kelthar pushed through the crowd, his translucent form glowing faintly in the dim light. "This accusation is baseless," he declared, his voice cutting through the noise. "We must investigate before jumping to conclusions." Voss stepped forward, her expression calm but resolute. "I agree with Ambassador Kelthar," she said firmly. "My crew and I are willing to assist in finding the truth. If someone aboard this station is responsible, we will uncover them." Her offer surprised many. Some saw it as a sign of innocence. Others viewed it as a calculated move to deflect blame. Regardless, the summit leaders reluctantly agreed to let humanity participate in the investigation. Voss quickly assembled a team, including Lieutenant Marcus Kane and Dr. Prionair, along with trusted representatives from neutral factions. Together, they began combing through the ruins of the damaged section. It didn't take long to find clues. In the smoldering debris, Marcus discovered fragments of a detonation device, unlike anything used by human technology. Its design bore markings associated with a rogue faction known as the Syndicate, a shadowy group infamous for destabilizing galactic politics to maintain control. Priya examined the device closely, her sharp eyes missing no detail. "This wasn't random vandalism," she concluded. "It was precision sabotage. Whoever planted this wanted to create distrust, specifically toward humanity." Kelthar nodded gravely. "The timing is too convenient. This attack shifts focus away from the corruption we uncovered and onto Captain Voss and her crew." Determined to clear humanity's name, Voss pressed onward. She reviewed security footage from the station's cameras, searching for any trace of the saboteur. Hours passed before she found what she was looking for: grainy images of a cloaked figure slipping into the damaged wing moments before the explosion. Though the face was obscured, the figure moved with familiarity, suggesting they were part of the summit delegation. Meanwhile, tensions aboard the station continued to escalate. Threxon rallied his allies, demanding swift punishment for humanity. "If they refuse accountability, we must act decisively," he bellowed during an impromptu assembly. His words stirred anger among those eager to scapegoat humanity. But Voss refused to back down. Addressing the gathered leaders, she held up evidence of the Syndicate's involvement. "This attack was meant to divide us," she said, her voice steady and commanding. "Don't fall into their trap. Stand together, and we can root out the true culprits." Her plea resonated with some, particularly Kelthar, who pledged full cooperation in resolving the crisis. Yet uncertainty lingered. Humanity's fate hung precariously in the balance, dependent on whether trust could overcome fear. Outside the station, the Aegis loomed silently, its sleek frame reflecting the fiery hues of a distant nebula. Inside, Captain Voss steeled herself for the battles ahead, not just against external enemies, but against the mistrust that threatened to consume the galaxy. The investigation into the sabotage deepened, and Captain Alina Voss found herself navigating a labyrinth of suspicion, alliances, and hidden agendas. The evidence pointed to the Syndicate, a shadowy faction notorious for manipulating galactic politics, but proving their involvement required more than fragments of a detonation device. It demanded courage, strategy, and unlikely partnerships. Ambassador Kelthar became an invaluable ally. His wisdom and diplomatic skills helped shield humanity from immediate retaliation, while quietly rallying neutral delegates to support Voss's cause. Trust is fragile, he reminded her one evening as they reviewed the case in a secluded conference room, but it can be rebuilt if we act wisely. Meanwhile, Dr. Priya Nair worked tirelessly alongside Lara, a young Quarren scientist whose homeworld had been devastated by exploitation. The two formed an unexpected bond over shared outrage at the injustices revealed in the classified files. Lara's knowledge of syndicate operations proved crucial. She identified patterns in the sabotage that matched previous attacks orchestrated by the rogue faction. "They're trying to protect their control," Lara explained, her shimmering blue skin glowing faintly under the dim lights. "If humanity exposes their crimes, it weakens their grip on power. That's why they framed you." Voss nodded thoughtfully. "Then we need to hit them where it hurts most, their reputation. If we expose them publicly, even the corrupt leaders here won't dare side with them." To gather irrefutable proof, Voss devised a risky plan. With Kane leading a small team, they infiltrated restricted areas of the station to access surveillance logs and communication records tied to the syndicate. The mission was fraught with danger. Guards loyal to High Counselor Threxon patrolled the corridors, suspicious of anyone near sensitive zones. But Marcus's engineering expertise allowed them to bypass security systems undetected. Back aboard the Aegis, Priya analyzed the recovered data, piecing together damning evidence. Messages exchanged between syndicate operatives confirmed their role in the sabotage and implicated several high-ranking delegates, including Threxon himself. "This is it," Priya said, her voice trembling with a mix of triumph and disbelief. "We have enough to bring them down." As the summit reconvened, Voss prepared to present the findings. She knew this moment would define humanity's future. Standing before the assembly, she projected holographic images of the messages and schematics linking the syndicate to the attack. Gasps rippled through the chamber as delegates realized the truth. "This was not an act of war by humanity," Voss declared, her tone unwavering. "It was a calculated attempt to discredit us and protect those profiting from exploitation. These actions were orchestrated by individuals who fear change, who fear justice." Threxon sprang to his feet, his reptilian features contorted with fury. "This is slander," he roared. "You twist facts to suit your agenda." Before he could continue, Ambassador Kalthar intervened. "Enough, Counselor. The evidence speaks for itself. Denying it only confirms your guilt." Panic spread among Threxon's allies as the tide turned against him. Some delegates began openly questioning his leadership, while others distanced themselves entirely. For the first time, cracks appeared in the syndicate's influence. Though the battle wasn't over, humanity had gained powerful allies. Lyra vowed to rally oppressed worlds to support Earth's integration into galactic society. Kalthar promised to advocate for reforms addressing systemic corruption. And aboard the Aegis, the crew felt a renewed sense of purpose. As the station's lights dimmed for the night, Voss gazed out at the stars. Humanity had faced its greatest test yet, and emerged stronger, but the road ahead remained uncertain. Winning trust was one thing. Dismantling centuries of injustice was another. Still, she smiled faintly, knowing they weren't alone anymore. Together, humanity and its new allies could forge a brighter future. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Summit was packed to capacity, every delegate leaning forward in anticipation. The atmosphere crackled with tension, a storm waiting to break. Captain Alina Voss stood at the center of the room, her presence commanding yet composed. Behind her, holographic displays projected evidence damning enough to shatter the syndicate's web of lies. Intercepted communications, schematics of the sabotage device, and records implicating High Counselor Threxon himself. "This conspiracy reaches far beyond one act of sabotage," Voss began, her voice steady and resonant. "It is a system built on exploitation, corruption, and fear, a system designed to maintain control over weaker civilizations for profit." She paused, letting her words sink in as murmurs rippled through the crowd. The attack on this station was not an isolated incident. It was retaliation against humanity's arrival because we threatened their power. Threxen's reaction was immediate. His emerald scales bristled with fury, and he slammed his clawed hand on the table. "This is outrageous," he bellowed, his deep voice reverberating through the chamber. "You accuse me, a leader of this council, based on fabricated data. Humanity seeks only to undermine us." But Voss didn't flinch. Instead, she turned to Ambassador Calthar, who nodded approvingly before addressing the assembly. "These accusations are not without merit," the Zenari elder said calmly. "The files recovered by Captain Voss align with long-standing suspicions about certain factions within our ranks. We cannot ignore such blatant violations of galactic law." As the debate intensified, alliances shifted visibly. Some delegates, initially hostile toward humanity, now sided with Voss after realizing how deeply entrenched the corruption ran. Others remained loyal to Threxen, unwilling or too afraid to abandon him. Among them was Councillor Varnock, whose insectoid frame clicked ominously as he rose to speak. "Even if these claims hold truth," Varnock hissed, "what guarantees do we have that humanity will not exploit others once they gain power? Today it is the Syndicate. Tomorrow it could be them." Voss stepped forward again, meeting Varnock's gaze unflinchingly. "Humanity has faced oppression and division throughout its history," she replied. "We understand what it means to suffer under greed and cruelty. That is why we seek unity, not domination. Our mission here is to build bridges, not walls." Her words struck a chord. Several neutral delegates nodded in agreement, while Lyra, the young Corin scientist, stood up to address the room. "Captain Voss speaks the truth," Lyra said, her soft but firm voice carrying across the chamber. "My people have suffered under this very system. Humanity offers hope, a chance to rewrite the rules of our galaxy. Will you choose justice, or will you cling to fear?" The tide had turned. Even some of Threxen's closest allies began to waver, whispering urgently among themselves. Sensing defeat, Threxen attempted to flee the hall, but security forces intervened, blocking his exit. Ambassador Kelthar raised a hand, silencing the chaos. "High Counselor Threxen, you are hereby detained pending further investigation into your involvement in these crimes." For a moment, Threxen looked like a cornered predator, his eyes blazing with hatred, but there was no escape. As guards escorted him away, the room erupted into applause. For many, this marked the beginning of change, a dismantling of old systems and the promise of reform. Later that evening, aboard the Aegis, Voss reflected on the day's events with her crew. Marcus Kane leaned back in his chair, grinning. "Looks like we just made history, Captain." Preya adjusted her glasses, her expression thoughtful. "Yes, but this is only the start. Justice doesn't happen overnight." Voss nodded, gazing out at the stars. Humanity had proven itself capable of standing against corruption and earning trust. Yet the real work lay ahead, building a galaxy where all species could thrive together. And so, with resolve burning brightly, humanity prepared to take its next step toward a brighter future. The fallout from the summit rippled across the galaxy like a shockwave. High Counselor Threxen's arrest sent ripples of fear and uncertainty through the corrupt factions he had led. For decades, they had operated in the shadows, manipulating trade routes, exploiting weaker civilizations, and silencing dissent. But now their empire of greed was crumbling under the weight of exposure, and humanity stood at the heart of it all. In the days following the dramatic showdown, Ambassador Calthar spearheaded efforts to draft a new charter for galactic governance. Dubbed the Unity Accord, it aimed to dismantle systemic exploitation and establish safeguards against future abuses. The document emphasized transparency, equality, and cooperation among species, principles that resonated deeply with humanity's vision for interstellar relations. Captain Alina Voss played an instrumental role in shaping the accord. Her speeches during closed-door sessions highlighted humanity's struggles on Earth, the wars fought over resources, the scars left by division, and the lessons learned from rebuilding a fractured world. "We are not perfect," she admitted one evening as delegates debated key provisions. But we understand what happens when power is hoarded instead of shared. Let this moment be our chance to create something better, for all of us. Her words struck a chord, earning respect even from former skeptics. Many delegates who once doubted humanity's intentions now saw them as allies in the fight for justice. Among them was Syra, the bird-like representative whose melodic voice carried newfound warmth. "Your arrival has forced us to confront truths we long ignored," she said during a session. "Perhaps your presence will inspire us to rise above our flaws." As the final draft of the Unity Accord took shape, the mood aboard the orbital station shifted. Where suspicion and hostility once reigned, tentative friendships began to form. Delegates exchanged ideas openly, sharing cultural traditions and stories of their homeworlds. Humanity's crew became ambassadors in their own right, forging bonds that transcended language barriers and physical differences. On the day of the signing ceremony, the Grand Hall buzzed with excitement rather than tension. Representatives gathered around a glowing holographic table, each placing their mark on the historic document. When Captain Voss stepped forward to sign on behalf of humanity, applause erupted throughout the chamber, a stark contrast to the hostility she had faced upon her arrival. "This is only the beginning," Ambassador Kelthar declared as the ceremony concluded. "The path ahead will not be easy, but together we can build a galaxy where every species has a voice." Later that night, aboard the Aegis, the crew celebrated their hard-won victory. Marcus Kane popped open a bottle of synthetic champagne, toasting to humanity's improbable triumph. "Who would have thought we'd go from being accused saboteurs to champions of reform?" he joked, raising his glass. Dr. Pryaner smiled, though her expression remained thoughtful. "It's not just about us anymore. We've opened doors for others too. Civilizations that were silenced now have a chance to speak." Voss nodded, standing near the viewport as the stars shimmered beyond the glass. "We've earned our place here," she said softly. "But earning trust isn't the same as keeping it. Our actions moving forward will define how the galaxy sees us." The next morning, the Aegis departed the station, its sleek frame gliding gracefully into the void. Messages poured in from across the galaxy, messages of gratitude, curiosity, and hope. Some came from oppressed worlds eager to connect with humanity. Others hailed from neutral factions seeking partnership. Each transmission reinforced the belief that humanity's journey was far from over. Back on the station, leaders began implementing reforms outlined in the Unity Accord. Trade routes reopened fairly, aid flowed to struggling planets, and investigations into past injustices gained momentum. Slowly but surely, the galaxy started healing from centuries of corruption. For humanity, this marked not an ending, but a beginning. They had proven themselves capable of standing alongside the stars, not as conquerors or victims, but as equals. And as the Aegis ventured deeper into uncharted space, its crew carried with them the promise of a brighter future, a future built on unity, courage, and hope. Months had passed since humanity's dramatic debut at the Galactic Summit, and the ripple effects of their arrival continued to reshape the galaxy. The Unity Accord, once a bold experiment in cooperation, was now becoming a cornerstone of interstellar society. Trade routes once controlled by corrupt factions were now open to all, fostering unprecedented economic growth. Oppressed worlds found allies in humanity and other reform-minded species, working together to rebuild what had been lost. Slowly but surely, the galaxy began to heal. Aboard the Aegis, Captain Elena Voss stood on the bridge, gazing out at the endless expanse of stars. The warship had become more than just a vessel. It was a symbol of humanity's resilience and ambition. Its sleek frame carried not only advanced technology, but also the hopes of an entire species eager to explore, learn, and contribute. Yet for Voss, the journey felt far from complete. "We've taken our first steps," she said aloud, her voice soft yet resolute. "But there's so much more to discover." The crew gathered around as Marcus Kane projected a holographic map of uncharted regions of the galaxy. Nebulae shimmered like jewels, pulsars blinked faintly, and vast voids hinted at mysteries waiting to be unraveled. These areas are barely documented, Marcus explained, his enthusiasm infectious. Some civilizations call them the silent reaches because no one has ever returned from exploring them. But if anyone can handle it, it's us. Dr. Pioneer adjusted her glasses, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. Every corner of space holds secrets, new species, undiscovered ecosystems, even ancient ruins that could teach us about the origins of life itself. Imagine what we might find. Voss smiled, feeling a spark of excitement ignite within her. Humanity's mission had always been twofold: to forge alliances among existing civilizations and to push the boundaries of knowledge. Now, with trust established and reforms underway, they were free to pursue the latter. "Set a course for the nearest uncharted sector," she ordered, her tone firm yet filled with anticipation. "Let's see what lies beyond." As the Aegis accelerated into the unknown, messages streamed in from across the galaxy. Some were updates on the progress of the Unity Accord. Others were invitations to collaborate on scientific research or cultural exchanges. Each transmission reminded Voss how far humanity had come, and how much farther they could go. Back on Earth, news of the Aegis' ongoing mission inspired billions. Schools taught lessons about the summit, museums displayed replicas of the warship, and artists created works celebrating humanity's place among the stars. For the first time in history, people looked up at the night sky, not with fear or longing, but with pride and purpose. They knew they were part of something greater, a story still being written. On board the Aegis, the crew worked tirelessly, driven by the same spirit that had brought humanity this far. Lieutenant Kane fine-tuned the ship's systems, ensuring they were ready for whatever lay ahead. Dr. Nair studied data collected during their travels, piecing together clues about distant worlds. And Captain Voss led with unwavering determination, reminding everyone that exploration wasn't just about discovery, it was about connection. One evening, as the ship drifted through a dazzling nebula, Voss addressed her team. "When we left Earth, we didn't know what awaited us. All we had was hope and each other. Today, we stand as proof that courage and unity can overcome even the greatest challenges. No matter where this journey takes us, let's remember why we're here: to build bridges, share knowledge, and leave the galaxy better than we found it." Her words resonated deeply, echoing through the corridors of the Aegis. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, their light guiding the way forward. Humanity's story was only beginning, but already it shone brightly, a beacon of possibility in a vast and mysterious universe. As the camera panned outward, the Aegis disappeared into the cosmic horizon, its engines glowing faintly against the darkness. The galaxy watched with bated breath, wondering where this bold new player would venture next. One thing was certain: humanity had arrived, and they were here to stay.